Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. At this time, those that are standing in the back of the auditorium, we ask that you please find your seats. Our program is about to start. Those in the back of the auditorium, please find your seats. Thank you so much for coming to our celebration. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the mayor and the police commissioner, we welcome you to One Police Plaza for our 2016 Heritage of Pride celebration. And we're delighted you could spend part of your evening here with us. To begin the ceremony, please rise for the presentation of our colors and the singing of our national anthem by Police Officer Jason Martinoff.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare of bombs bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
And thank you also, Martinoff. Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing for our invocation by New York City Police Department Chaplain Bishop Victor Brown.
Let us pray. Gracious and loving God, creator and sustainer of this vast universe, from everlasting to everlasting, you are God. We give you thanks for the blessing of this day. We thank you for the presence of our mayor and for the stellar leadership he continues to provide to all of the citizens who comprise this great city of New York. We thank you for our police commissioner and for our first deputy and every member of the NYPD present and those who are absent. We give you thanks for the family members of the respective officers who are here, and also for the honorees of this night. And we would be remiss if we did not lift up in our prayers and remember in our prayers the mother and father of Lane Graves, who died because of the alligator attack in Florida. We ask your blessings upon his family. And last but not least, we ask your blessings upon the families of those who were senselessly and incomprehensibly lost in Orlando, Florida. And now we will observe a moment of silence.
Christopher Andrew Leinonen. Juan Ramon Guerrero.
Stanley Almodovar. Amanda Alvear. Oscar Aracena Montero. Rodolfo Ayala. Antonio Duvan Brown. Daryl Roman Burt II. Angel Caballero Pedro. Juan Chavez Martinez.
Luis Daniel Conde. Corey James Connell. Tevin Eugene Crosby. Dianca Deidre Drayton. Simon Adrian Carrillo Fernandez. Leroy Valentin Fernandez. Mercedes Marisol Flores. Peter O. Gonzalez Cruz.
Paul Terrell Henry, Frank Hernandez, Miguel Angel Honorato, Javier Jorge Reyes, Jason Benjamin Josephat, Eddie Jamalroy Justice, Anthony Luis Laureano Disla, Alejandro Barrios Martinez.
Brenda Lee Marquez McCool, Gilberto Ramon Silva Menendez, Kimberly Morris, Akira Monet Murray, Luis Omar Ocasio Capo, Geraldo A. Ortiz Jimenez, Eric Iván Ortiz Rivera, Joel Rayon Panagüe.
Jean Carlos Mendez Perez, Enrique L. Rios Jr., Jean C. Nieves Rodriguez, Xavier Emmanuel Serrano Rosado, Christopher Joseph Sanfeliz, Yilmary Rodriguez Solivan, Edward Sotomayor Jr., Shane Evan Tomlinson,
Martin Benitez Torres, Jonathan Antonio Camoy Vega, Juan P. Rivera Velasquez, Luis S. Vilma, Frankie Jimmy De Jesus Velasquez, Luis Daniel Wilson Leon, Gerald Arthur Wright.
May they rest in peace. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. It is indeed my pleasure and pride to introduce the Police Commissioner of the City of New York, the Honorable William J. Bratton.
Good evening. Mr. Mayor, thank you for taking time from your very busy schedule to join with us this evening. An evening of commemoration, certainly, commemoration of the too many lives lost in Orlando, an evening of celebration for the many, many gains that have been made since the period of time when Sergeant Charles Cochran, many years ago, proudly declared that he was a New York City police officer, but he was also equally proud to be gay. Many years have passed since that history-making occasion, as many years have passed since the history-making occasion at the Stonewall Inn. Progress continues to be made, but as evidenced by the hateful act in Orlando, there's still so much more that needs to be done. And I can commit, as police commissioner for the City of New York, in my capacity, that we will continue to do all we can to ensure that everybody feels welcome in this department and that everyone who lives, works, or plays in this city or visits here feels comfortable approaching a New York City police officer, knowing they will be treated equally with compassion, with care, and with attention. As the police, it's part of our job to protect the rights of all of our citizens. And as a department, it's certainly our job to protect that right for our own members. It's true that much has changed since GOL was founded more than 30 years ago by Sergeant Cochran and several of his colleagues. It's a very different New York City, and it's a different New York City Police Department. Goals, decades of work advocating for the rights of their members, fighting for equality, and promoting tolerance has been vital, essential to these advancements. But as they say, the more things change, the more they seem sometimes to stay the same. In simple terms, that means the work continues. In simple terms, that means there's much more work to be done. And as we continue that work, I want you to know that you have my full support and the full support of my administration. Those of you who have come out to use that term, and those of you who seek to keep to yourselves your particular preference, as is your right. It's impossible to measure the importance of equality, fair treatment, and feeling comfortable in the workplace. Because of this, we are fully committed to ensuring that all of our members not only have a voice, but that they have a voice that is heard, accepted, and understood. It's this level of inclusion and not demographic statistics that makes us truly diverse as a department and as a city and as a nation. And this diversity, in turn, is our greatest strength, because the more we represent the communities we serve, the more we look like them, the more we empathize with them, the more we are them, and the closer we get to a city and a department that is safe and fair everywhere for everyone. I've been dealing with these issues for most of my police career. In 1976, at the urging of Bob Wasserman, one of the consultants that is continuing to work with us, Bob and I have had a close working relationship for over 40 years. He has been one of my mentors. He has been committed totally to the issue of equality for everyone. And at his urging, as a young sergeant assigned to the Police Commissioner's office, I was reassigned down to Police District 4, the South End, Fenway, Back Bay area of Boston. And those of you in the gay community recognize those neighborhoods, because was then and is today the heart and soul of the gay community in Boston. 1970s in Boston, as here and the rest of the country, were not a good time for gays. And in Boston, the tensions between the Boston Police Department and the gay community were, to say the least, very tense. My role as the first liaison to the gay community, and I believe that I was the first one in the country of any police department, was to begin to try to understand the issues and begin to try to address them. I worked very closely with then Barney Frank, a deputy mayor, before being elected to Congress, with Steve Brill, an investigative reporter for one of the gay newspapers in the city, to work on those issues, to try to bring cops and gay community closer together. And we made progress. We made progress to the extent that one of the highlights of the year in Boston became eventually the softball game between the Boston Police Department and the gay community in the Fenway area of Boston. Progress, not accomplishment, but progress. I have close personal affiliation with the gay community through my own sister. Pat joined the U.S. Army, suffered great discrimination in that organization, met her lifelong partner, however. Out of the negative came the positive. Two of them left the Army, worked in the post office for many years, where particularly Pat's partner suffered tremendous harassment because she was gay. The usual notes on the locker, different things being done to her vehicle. And I can still recall passionately, as police superintendent in Boston, working with U.S. postal authorities, investigating the many acts committed against her while she was in that organization. I was also quite pleased when Pat and Val were able to finally be married, one of the first in Massachusetts, when that state, one of the earliest states to pass laws allowing gays to be married. So I've had a lot of exposure, both professionally and personally, to the issues that so many of you experience and continue to experience. And based on that experience, I will remain committed to ensuring that in my capacity as police commissioner, not only do you have rights as police officers or civilian members of this department, but your rights as citizens of this country are protected and guaranteed and fought for. That's my promise. That's the promise of this leadership team that I have assembled around me. And that's the promise of this mayor, who has committed himself to equality for all, a progressive agenda that some still resist around this country, but all resistance eventually will fail, as it should, because the cause is just, the cause is righteous, and the cause is something we all need to embrace. Thank you for being here this evening with us.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Bratton. It's now my honor to introduce the Mayor of the City of New York, the Honorable Bill de Blasio.
Well, good evening, everyone. It is a real honor to be with you this evening, and it would be an honor any time and any year, but there's a special meaning this week and why it's so important that we gather together in solidarity. I want to thank the leadership of this department, first of all. What you just heard from Commissioner Bratton, I can describe many ways, but one of the words that immediately comes to mind is the word enlightened. This is the kind of leadership we need in the public sector and the private sector, in all elements of American life. Truly recognizing what each and every person has to offer and recognizing that discrimination against one of us is discrimination against all of us. So I think it's crucial that we have a commissioner whose heart and soul believes in equality for all. Let's give him a round of applause and thank him. And the extraordinary leadership team he has assembled. I want to thank First Deputy Commissioner Tucker and Chief O'Neill and all the leaders of the NYPD who are here, who share those values and who act on them every day in real and meaningful ways, and in ways that are being felt all over this city. Just a quick aside, I had the honor today of being at Bushwick Houses in Brooklyn and meeting some of the new NCO officers who are implementing the neighborhood policing strategy and hearing from community residents what it means to them to know the officers in their community personally and how important it is to have that relationship. That is another form of enlightenment and moving forward as our police and our community bond further in this city. I want to thank everyone who's here. A special thank you to Detective Brian Downey, the president of GOAL. Thank you for your leadership, Detective. And a congratulations in advance. We have a real radio star present. Congratulations to Elvis Duran for the award he will receive. I just want to speak to you for a couple of moments. As I said, it's a time we have to reflect deeply on. And a simple point this evening is to focus on the word pride, because it perfectly embodies so much of what we're talking about this evening. There is extraordinary pride running through GOAL. There is pride professionally, because all of GOAL's members are members of the NYPD. And there are, in every part of the world, in every field, there are people who boast about being in the best organization in that field, except when we talk about the NYPD, it's not a boast, it's a fact. This is the finest police force anywhere in the world. And the tradition of this department goes back to 1845, and it's deep and it's real, and it uplifts us every day. And at the same time, members of GOAL are members of what I think is unquestionably the most vibrant LGBT community anywhere in this nation, and I would argue anywhere in the world, and a community that has not only so much accomplishment to its name, but a community that has deserves particular credit for what started the modern LGBT civil rights movement at Stonewall in 1969. If we want to know the birthplace of LGBT rights in America, right here in New York City, and for that we are proud. Commissioner talked about Sergeant Charles Cochran. And it's so important to remember that visionaries get lauded later on, and we talk about their accomplishments, and in a sense, they become part of the mainstream, but at the time, it's never easy. When Sergeant Cochran had the vision for goal, he felt a powerful pride, and a dual pride, as I mentioned, a dual pride in being a member of the NYPD and being a member of the LGBT community. And to act on that pride came with real sacrifice. The discrimination it brought on was intense. The anger and frustration he had to face down was overwhelming, the fortitude and bravery he had to show. It is a reminder of the fact that there are always people who will resist change, some with words, or God forbid, as we saw in Orlando, some with acts of violence. And everyone who stands up for their own identity and for their own rights runs that risk that they could be victimized. But that doesn't stop people from standing up, and Sergeant Cochran is such a great example. The first goal meeting, it was just 11 people, just 11, gathered together at St. Joseph's Church in the Village. There was not strength in numbers. It was the few who were willing to stand up and be proud and be out in the open. And I remind you of the environment back then. Sadly, there were bomb threats made against the gathering, and a gathering of police officers actually required police protection just to have their meeting. But what's happened over these decades? Today, the Gold chapter here boasts 2,000 members across the region from a variety of law enforcement organizations, and I say congratulations for that. And there are 20 Gold chapters nationwide. And these decades later, no one need doubt where the leadership of this department stands, as I noted. Every member of GOAL knows the commissioner and his leadership team have your back. Now, we all have a mission ahead. At the end of this month, there'll be one of the great events in this city each year, the Pride Parade. An extraordinary event, an event that's quintessentially New York. And I've said, and the commissioner has said, we expect this to not be a moment where people live in fear or worry whether they should be there. We expect this to be the greatest outpouring of support for the LGBT community this city has ever seen. We expect it to be the biggest parade this city has ever seen for Pride. And we will all be part of creating that welcoming atmosphere. I expect people to come from all over the country, even more than usual, in solidarity to make sure this parade is a great success. I also want you to know that Sergeant Cochran's extraordinary contributions will never be forgotten, and to ensure that we remember what he achieved, we'll honor him. The NYPD and the whole city will honor him on Friday, renaming the corner by St. Joseph's Church, the corner of Washington Place and 6th Avenue, Sergeant Charles H. Cochran Way. So there's a lot to do. There's a lot to stand up for. There's a lot to prepare for. Everyone has an opportunity to show all New Yorkers that even with the threats directed at us from around the world, we all will keep each other safe, and the NYPD will always be there for their fellow New Yorkers. And when it comes to the Pride Parade, we all need to put in that extra effort to make sure all the preparations are there and it is the biggest and the best ever. And to show people they never need be afraid. I always say that terrorists and those who commit hate crimes, they're trying to engage in psychological warfare. They're trying to change us. They're trying to change our values. They're trying to undermine our lifestyle. They're trying to alter our democracy. It's up to us to reject that. It's up to us not to be intimidated. And we believe in an inclusive society, and we will ensure that that society is protected. Finally, remember a great American who told us something so essential, and it is one of those phrases that needs to be invoked in times of trouble to remind people of the path we're on, and I had the honor of using this phrase very recently when the right of all Americans to marriage equality was affirmed by our Supreme Court. And these are really immortal words from Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. when he said, "The arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice." Let that thought always uplift us and energize us for the work ahead. Thank you all for all you do, and God bless you.
And thank you so much, Mr. Mayor. It's now my pleasure to introduce the President of the Gay Officers Action League, Detective Brian Downey.
I can't tell you what a beautiful sight this is, but it is beautiful indeed. And thank you all for being here in the halls of the police department, being here with the out and proud members of the NYPD. The concept for tonight's event started probably about 4 or 5 months ago when I got together with Deputy Commissioner Perez, and she handles the NYPD's fraternal organizations. And I think Commissioner Bratton, next to my boss, Chief O'Neill, sitting to your left there, probably one of the best, if not the best, additions to your staff since you've come back to us. I said, Commissioner, we haven't had a Pride celebration in some time, and I'm kind of new to this, and I think we need to bring it back. And I think it can't just be an NYPD event. I think it needs to be a community event. I think there is still a great deal of mistrust within the NYPD and the LGBT community. Some of it legitimate, and some of it not legitimate. I think that we need to take a look around the room, and we need to really look at the uniformed personnel that are here among us. Our lesbian officers, our gay officers, our bisexual officers, our transgender, our queer officers. Being a member of the LGBTQ community and being a police officer is not mutually exclusive. Every single day we bring the struggle that we've endured in our lives into the halls, into the precincts, into the PSAs, into the detective squads. We bring that experience with us. Just because we do this job now, and that doesn't absolve us of that. We have people in our organization that were thrown out of their house for being who they were, for being honest with their loved ones. My vice president, Anna Arboleta, was thrown out of her house by her mother. And she was told that, you know, you can either be a lesbian or you can live under this roof. Anna put herself through high school. Anna put herself through college. And when it came time to have the financial aid paperwork signed, Anna's mother refused to help her with that. She put herself through college, worked herself through school, took the police test, came here, and someday soon, hopefully within the next few months, she'll be a New York City Police Department sergeant. That is one story, one of so many. So many stories of so many of our members. I myself was not out at all when I came to the NYPD. I came out with the assistance of members of the Gay Officers Action League, an organization I joined. I joined as a closeted member. I became an out member. I was scared out of my mind the first time I walked down Fifth Avenue on a warm June morning. And it wasn't my brother and sister cops that I had a fear of, that I was marching in the parade with. I was saying, what are they going to think of you? What are the other cops going to think of you when they see you, when they stand on the barriers, when they work there and they keep the parade safe? What are they going to think? What are they going to say? What are they going to do? That was the scariest thing I ever did in my life. Way more scarier than standing up here in front of my bosses, plural, all of you. Thank you for being here. And it was unjustified because I have found the acceptance and love to be able to live as an openly honest gay man through the work of this organization and through the institution of the New York City Police Department. And I think that says a lot to say about the police department today. We have transgender officers that have had practically seamless transitions on this job. They have a struggle. We all have a struggle. For our African American, our black police officers that are here, you know, one of the interesting things that, you know, I engage in discussion about civil rights, about human rights, about LGBT rights, every single place I go. And one of the interesting things that a friend of mine, Pat Rodrigo, he's a sergeant now in the DA squad up in the Bronx, one thing he said to me, which was interesting, he says, I appreciate that you're out and proud, Bri, but I can't hide who I am. I bring that struggle with me to work every day. And he brings the struggle and needs of that community with him to work every day. But I guess what I'm getting at here is that there is all this mistrust, there's all this anger. And is it really justified? Are we in the criminal justice and law enforcement professions, are we perfect? No, absolutely not. I'll never say we are. We are not without sin. We are not perfect. We have a bad day too. But I think the overwhelming majority of the time, we get it right. And we have made every single effort. I don't know what more effort you can make, Commissioner. You've given us Commissioner Susan Herman, who's here with us, to work with the community groups, to bring the needs of communities into the police department. We are here for you. Goal is here for you. I think we need to have a conversation about healing. I think we need to have a conversation. And a conversation does not involve shouting down my police commissioner on Christopher Street. That is not a conversation. Not a reasonable conversation and not one that I'll engage in. You want to talk? I'll have a meeting with you. You want to speak? Commissioner Herman will have a meeting with you. We will go anywhere. We will speak with anybody. I've spoken in front of more community groups in the last few days than I ever thought possible. I joined the Islamic Cultural Center with members of my board after night prayer at 10:30, 11 o'clock on Monday night up at 96th Street and 3rd Avenue. And I spoke to the Islamic Muslim faith, that congregation that was gathered there. There was about 400 people. I think I might have been the first gay man that ever went in there and spoke to them. And I said that as a police officer, I kind of understand what it's like to be broad-stroked and judged by the actions of one or the actions of a few. we have a lot of work to do. The work does not end with the Pride celebration. The conversation will continue tomorrow. On that note, I just want to change gear really quickly. I know that the mayor mentioned the NYPD and he mentioned goal as kind of, I just want to clear something up, that we have members from other criminal justice and law enforcement agencies. We have people from the Bureau of Prisons, the Federal Bureau of Prisons. We have people from the FBI. We have people from the New York State Unified Court System, the district attorney's offices, federal agents. So for everybody that came here that's a member of GOAL, that is not a member of the NYPD, could you stand up for me, please, and just be recognized? Our executive director right here, Bill Shepard of the New York State Unified Court System, was sworn in Monday as part of the United States Supreme Court Bar. So congratulations, Bill. Very quickly on the events of Sunday morning. I want to thank the executive leadership of the police department for listening to me, for taking the calls of the Gay Officers Action League. I've been embedded with Chief Waters, our commanding officer of the Counterterrorism Bureau, and I'm so grateful that the department is listening to GOAL and to our members, because I think that's important. It's important to lean on your fraternal organizations to get a pulse as to what's going on in the community. It's important, and they feel validated. And I'd like our NYPD members to stand up and be recognized, please. The events of the terrorist attack in Florida, I really didn't have an opportunity over the last couple of days to really formalize remarks. It's been nonstop. Haven't really gotten much sleep, but I'm going to keep going and doing what we need to do together for the community. But I just want to just touch on our honorees tonight and kind of give you a little background as to how they ended up being honorees. First of all, our Ally Award. An ally is somebody that stands with the community, that isn't afraid to stand with the community, and give the community a sense of pride, a sense of respect, a sense of equality. Equality is important. And this man looks at everybody as equals. He looks and treats everybody he meets like a human being. He's a tough and gritty police commander, but he's a gentle soul, and he's somebody that gets it. And I'm proud to work for him. I first met Chief O'Neill when he was appointed as Chief of Patrol a few years ago, and we didn't really have a relationship with the Chief of Patrol's office, so we had our Pride breakfast coming up, and I called up the office. I called Carl, who was the president. I said, Carl, what do you think? I should call the Chief of Patrol? He said, yeah, go ahead, call the Chief of Patrol. So I called up and I said, Chief, how are you? He said, good. Who's this? I said, it's Brian Downey from GOAL. How are you? Oh, great, Brian, how are you? I said, listen, I know you're new and you probably got a lot going on, but we have a Pride breakfast going on Sunday morning. Could you come down and could you be with the members? And he said, sure, absolutely, I'll be there. Sunday morning, he came, he spoke. Chief James O'Neill, our Chief of Department, has not missed one GOAL event as Chief of Patrol or as Chief of Department. He has made himself available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year to answer out the needs of the gay community as brought to him by members of the Gay Officers Action League. Chief, you are our ally, you are a friend. I can't thank you enough for all you do in keeping us safe and in listening to our concerns. Thank you. Please stand and be recognized. And to our next honoree, who is selected based upon his visibility in the community as a member of the community, as an open and honest member of the community, his generosity. When we were determining who to give this award to, we were bouncing around a lot of names and a lot of people had a lot of suggestions, but we came in to the meeting where we had to determine where it was going. And our Sergeant at Arms, Lydia Figueroa, came and she said, you know, Elvis Duran gave $10,000 to the Tyler Clementi Foundation this morning. So what do you guys think about Elvis? And the motion quickly carried unanimously. Elvis, you are a kind and gentle soul. You respect the traditions of law enforcement and the traditions of the criminal justice community. Your partner comes from a police family, and I guess that can kind of help you understand the struggle too. So thank you for what you do as being out and proud and visible, and thank you for coming here and standing with Out and Proud NYPD. Thank you, sir. Please stand and be recognized. I'm going to beg your leave now so we can continue, and I can see that Sally is twitching, which means that she wants to dance. So Sergeant Elaine Santiago will cue it up later. And we also have Batala here in the back. Are you guys ready? Thank you for being here as well. Lieutenant, they're all yours. Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you so much, Detective Downing. Ladies and gentlemen, I direct your attention now to the screens in front for a video presentation.
I'm Officer Terrence Shepard of the 107 Precinct.
I'm Officer Sally Ann Polizzi of the 5th Precinct.
Police Officer Raymond Martinez of Transit District 30.
Detective Josephine Curry of the Crime Scene Unit.
Police Officer Jackie Barranco from the 70th Precinct.
Detective Carl Locke of the Police Impersonation Investigation Unit.
Professor Anthony Nuccio of the 19th Precinct.
And I am NYPD.
And I'm NYPD.
I'm NYPD.
And I'm NYPD, out and proud.
Pride to me means being comfortable in your skin, being yourself.
Being open and honest about who I am and inspiring others to do the same.
And celebrating that and not shunning it, not hiding it.
It's very important because if you're not yourself, you'll lose yourself.
And there was no need to hide it. And after I came out, probably was the best thing that could have happened. Not one thing changed. I got more support.
I was surprised when I came out 15 years ago how open and accepting it was. I had to look at my own bias about policing too and realize, wow, it wasn't based on reality, it was based on the past.
There's been so much progress made with the LGBT community when it comes to the department. It's an amazing feeling to know that I could do the job I love with the support of my family and friends at home, as well as my brothers and sisters in blue.
As a gay man, seeing the support that we have from the higher-ups in NYPD, it's amazing. It makes me feel like there's really nothing that I can't do.
I've had very supportive partners, and I will say that maybe I've enlightened some of them.
When you're actually working with someone who is also a cop and they are gay, it's going to change your perception about people.
You know, you're a police officer. No matter who you are, you could be from any race, creed, ethnic background. You could be gay, straight, bisexual. You're a police officer, and that's who we are. We're a big blue family.
You just have to share who you are. And most people are going to accept you for who you are because what bonds us together is the work, is what we're doing to make sure we have each other's back. That when the time comes, you know that the two of you can take care of business together.
It certainly doesn't matter to my partner or anyone I work with that I'm gay. As long as I do the job, that's all that matters.
You know, as long as I'm a nice person, I'm kind, I'm respectful, that's all they care about.
Because it's not going to matter. Can I handle a job properly? Can I show up and do what I need to do? Am I safe in how I do it? That's all that matters.
Black, white, gay, straight, we all put on a blue uniform and we all have to have each other's backs.
Embracing diversity and ethnicity and male and female, that's what makes us special as a department and special as a city.
It really benefits both the NYPD and the community to have diversity. It's a very good career path for someone in the LGBT community that wants to actually make a difference, and they can.
We don't tolerate discrimination in this department at the end of the day, and it's a wonderful thing.
You're able to be open, you're able to be gay, you're able to be you, and still be a cop. You just worry about being yourself. I am a cop. And we work together, we're all the same.
And thank you. We wanted to thank the Deputy Commissioner of Strategic Communications for that video presentation. Thank you, Deputy Commissioner. At this time, we're going to invite Commissioner Bratton back up to the podium with Detective Downey and now do the two presentations that will be reflected in his remarks. We'll do it right on this side. Do it right in front. We first like to bring up the 2016 Gold Ally Award presented to Chief of Department James O'Neill. And we just wanted to read this. Gay Officers Action League Lifetime Membership Certificate is certified that James P. O'Neill is a lifetime member of the above corporation under the laws and states and is entitled to the full benefits privileges of such a membership. Give me that, I'll hold on to it.
Okay, thanks. Joe Resnick, it's under 3 minutes, all right? So, Brian, a gentle soul.
A very gentle soul, Chief.
You know, up until this point, only my mom knew that, so you just outed me, bro. Supposed to be a big, tough cop. It's an absolute honor and privilege to be here. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Carl. Thank you, the member, the board of GOAL and all the membership of GOAL. It really is an honor to have this recognition. Brian, thanks to the great work that you do every day on behalf of the LGBT community in New York City and the NYPD. I know you planned this celebration a long time ago, but in light of the cowardly and absolutely horrific terrorist attack in Orlando over the weekend, this event has now taken on an even greater meaning. It's a poignant reminder that despite our nation's best efforts, those filled with hate still walk among us and will seek to harm us, even in places we feel most at ease. In New York City, we're doing our best to keep everyone safe. I think as everyone in this room knows, we've stood up new entities to help us in that fight. The Critical Response Command under the leadership of Jim Waters, SRG, ESU, and the entire police department. This is what we came on this job for, is to keep people safe. And when those entities aren't strategically deployed throughout the city, they're relentlessly training for the eventuality. And I promise you, we will never become complacent. And then as I look out in this room, see people in uniforms, I want to thank you for making that decision to lead lives of significance. And becoming a member of the NYPD, you truly did choose to lead a life of significance. You've chose to make a difference when you joined the NYPD. It was a decision that truly has meaning. And anyone that knows me knows I love my job. And my job is to help you do your job. And I know what your job is, but I'm going to remind you. Your job is to keep people free from fear, keep people free from violence, and to give people the freedom to pursue whatever path they choose. When I came on the job 30 years ago, nobody spoke about LGBT issues. Certainly no one was talking about it at the highest levels of the NYPD. Well, I'm truly proud to be a member of a police department that not only accepts but actively encourages LGBT members, as well as many other talented people from all backgrounds, races, and religions. Because I think it's diversity that pushes us forward as a human race. We want the public to recognize our efforts too. And as Brian said, there are still divides that exist between the police and the LGBT community. But we'll overcome that. We're here for you. We're here to support you as we support everyone in this great city. Just a reminder, it's a shared responsibility. It's not just law enforcement that has to help keep this great city safe. Everyone has to play a part. This task is being undertaken by New Yorkers who care deeply about the city and its future, and goal remains at the forefront of this effort. Please continue leading by the power of the example that you set in your own lives as parents, friends, cops, as advocates, and leaders in your community. Thank you again for the work that you're doing. Congratulations, and everyone have a great night. Thank you very much.
And thank you so much, Chief O'Neill. And now for the 2016 Gold Visibility Award, I'd like to introduce Elvis Duran. And also a certificate is presented, certified that Elvis Duran is a lifetime member of the above corporation, the Gay Action Orphan League, under the laws of this state and entitled to the full benefits, privileges of such membership. Congratulations. I'll hold that to you.
Thank
sir.
you. All right.
Before we break for commercial.
25 minutes, right?
Okay.
Oh, you have something for me? He already loaded us down with all sorts of swag in his office earlier. All right. See, I can say something about the commissioner that you probably feel you shouldn't. He's a rock star. This guy, Commissioner Bratton. When we found out our commissioner was going to be on our radio show this morning, I melted. We started talking about all of his accomplishments. Of course, we Wikipedia'd him, and seriously. So he comes on the air. He's on hold. I look down and I see that bulb flashing on hold. I'm thinking, I can't wait to push that button and put the commissioner on. My producer says, you know there's only two commissioners in the world, Commissioner Bratton and Commissioner Gordon from Batman. I can't think of another commissioner. That's all I know. So I say, all right, good morning. We are live. We were only on in New York at this time. Good morning, Commissioner Gordon. I felt like such a jerk. And of course, he immediately says, you've been watching too much Batman. Very enlightening talk to our listeners this morning about safety during Pride, and also talking about all of the tragic events going on in Orlando. I'm sure when you woke up Sunday morning, you, of course, thought of the victims, you thought of their families, but of course your brothers and sisters who were there to figure it all out, to keep people calm, to keep people safe. That's why to be up here in front of you is very nerve-wracking for me. In a good way. I've interviewed everyone as far as superstars and artists recording, your favorite recording stars, all the way back to several Beatles I've interviewed. I've interviewed the Elton Johns of the world, all the way up to the Rihannas and Pharrells, and I never get nervous when I am near them, but I'm nervous here with you because you are my stars, you are my heroes, and I'm sure you hear that a lot, and I hope you don't take it for granted. You are so important to us, and if ever I hear someone say, oh, those NYPD men and women in blue, they have a thankless job, no, you don't. Listen to my show. I thank you each and every time I read anything about you. Every single friggin' time. When the buildings are burning, you go that way, I go that way. You don't want me with you. You'll be safer without me. When there are protesters protesting, you're there to keep them safe, even if they are protesting you and what you do every day. Our apartment was over on Northmore and Hudson Street, and we had all sorts of protesters marching under our windows last year. And I remembered thinking they're drinking my wine and being nervous. They have the right to do that, but at the same time, I couldn't wait to get on the air tomorrow morning and say, I love the people who keep us safe in New York City every day. I love you. And if that's why I'm getting the Visibility Award, fine, I deserve it, because I will say I love you and trust you until the end of my days. I will. And the other night at the Stonewall event, there were some people saying some rude things about our commissioner. The difference is they got your name right. They said Bratton. I'm Gordon still. But from now on, I will always refer to you as Commissioner Bratton. I swear to God I will. It's really funny how the Stonewall, I was taken back to being there the night that marriage equality passed in New York State. I was there that night. It seems like everyone always comes to New York. All eyes are always on your city, our city, when it comes to these major events, especially in our gay community. And I remember that night, as a matter of fact, I'm sure when penguins are found out to be gay in the London Zoo, they catch the next flight to the Stonewall to get a drink. But with all the world watching, obviously, our police force has been doing something right for many, many years. New York City is a superstar. That's why we're here. You were born and raised here, you stayed here. I moved here because it pulled me in like a big magnet. And I love it. I wouldn't leave it for the world. And I just want to say thank you. This is such an honor to be here with you. You are superstars. Thank you so much. Commissioner Bratton, thank you so much, sir.
I did have the opportunity for the first time this morning to appear on his show and had a good time with him. And a few moments ago, before this event, had him up to the office, gave him a little tour of the place. And I have an individual in the audience I want to introduce Elvis to, because I learned this morning after the show that his #1 fan, and I'm going to out him right now, is a member of our department. And it's probably, in your mind, it'd probably be the least likely fan, but Joe Resnick, would you please stand up?
There he is.
Who would have thunk it? And, Chief O'Neill, now I know what you do with your spare time, what little you have. You're basically hanging out with the Gay Officers Association here. But Elvis, in terms of when you do your radio show tomorrow and you're talking about being here tonight, and people ask how'd it go, what happened, well, let me give you a presentation, and it's my official mug. And so tomorrow you can say, when I went to One Police Plaza, I got mugged by the police commissioner.
All right. Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. This is such an honor. This organization, can I just say one thing, and I swear to God I'll leave. Go back and look at the minutes from the first meetings back in 1982. And Dr. Sirachi, you were around back then. Look at what they were talking about then at the goal meetings versus now. Look at the progress that has been made. You're on the right track. This is just so, so incredible. Congratulations, and thank you again. Thank you so much. I appreciate it very much.
Just really quickly, I didn't get to say thank you to everybody, but I definitely want to acknowledge Mayor de Blasio for being here with us tonight. His community affairs, LGBT liaison, Elvin Garcia, is here, and Elvin and I have been working hand in hand, and I appreciate that relationship. Thank you, Elvin. I want to acknowledge the hard work of our board, the board officers of the Gay Officers Action League. You guys have been outstanding, and we could not have done any of this without you. Our treasurer is still heating food over here on the side. Mike, you're great. You're the best. And last and certainly not least, the officers from within the police department that work so hard to make this event tonight a success. Strategic Communications, Nathan Collins for the video, the entire staff of the Office of Deputy Commissioner of Administration, Director Otero, Sergeant Wiedock, Lieutenant Solomons, Gene Canapi, the Committee of Police Societies who have come here to stand in solidarity with us tonight against the act of terror and to celebrate the accomplishments of goal. Thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. DCPI as well, Director Donald, you've been outstanding. So I just wanted to thank them before I left for the night. Lou.
Now, would everyone please rise for our benediction by, again, Bishop Victor Brown.
May the Lord bless and keep us. May the Lord make his face to shine upon us and be gracious unto us. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon us and give us his peace. Amen.
And thank you, Bishop Brown. Ladies and gentlemen, as we conclude all ceremonies here at One Police Plaza, we ask you that you join us in singing God Bless America, which will be led by Police Officer Jason Martinoff.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans, white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
Thank you, awesome.